Hi Virgo, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your February 2022 tarot reading. Thank you to those who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic Cross spread as always, and also pulled some Oracle cards and a Mudra card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus will be as far as that goes. Alright, so we have 4. So for you guys, 4th house is Sagittarius, and it's not going to be too much going on there, astrologically speaking. Mars is wrapping up its transit through there as we speak. Alright, we have Gemini, so that's actually your 10th house of career and social status, and I do see some Gemini energy in the spread for sure. And we have Jupiter. So Jupiter is actually in your opposite sign of partnerships, contracts, and relationships. So could be some significance with that as well. Right, so pretty significant houses for you guys popping up with the astrology anyway. Let's see what we get in the main spread. The main situation position, we have the High Priestess. So usually I view this as Pisces energy. And on the one hand, it could just be saying that maybe you're shifting your focus to relationships. Speaking of focus, my camera does not want to do that, but whatever. We'll just keep going. So, yeah, for some of you, it could just be saying that you have more of a focus on relationships. But more than anything, I feel like this is actually saying that you guys are tapping into your intuition. And some of this could just be due to the fact that, of course, in February, there's actually going to be a full moon in Leo, which is your 12th house. So that could definitely help bring some of that to light for you. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing with that. And if nothing else, I feel like you're being a bit more quiet and introspective this month. All right, in the challenge or obstacle position, we have the 10 of Pentacles. So with this coming up in the challenge position, given that it's a pretty positive card, and it's a Virgo card at that, could just be saying that maybe you've been a bit out of balance lately, where maybe you've been putting too much focus on reaching day-to-day, more financial goals, or yeah, that's what I'm getting primarily, just focusing more on finances and then maybe losing touch with your intuition in the process, where it's like, all right, you're a little bit too focused on the earthly things going on around you and not necessarily being able to tap into your intuition at times. For some of you, you could even be trying to tap into your intuition to figure out how best to get here, too, if you're not at the 10 of Pentacles stage yet. So maybe you might be thinking of different ways to get there. If the way that you've been approaching it to this point hasn't necessarily gotten you to the level of success that you were hoping for. All right, in the foundation position, we have the 8 of Swords in reverse. So this is actually Gemini energy here, which we did see come up in the dice. And for you guys, it is your 10th house of career and social status. So for some of you, this could definitely be around your careers, where you might have even gotten to a certain level of success within your career, but you might just feel like it's not speaking to you on a more spiritual level, right? Where you might feel a bit drained more than you actually feel like you're enjoying what you do. So it could be one of those things where you're like, okay, I'm getting this financial success, but if I'm too drained to actually enjoy it, is it still a good fit for me, right? So it could be one of those things where you guys could have been coming to some realizations around that. In the past position, we have the 9 of Swords, so more Gemini energy here. So yeah, I feel like, again, this is just a lot of stuff going on in your minds where I feel like you just might have felt like detached from your more spiritual side, just because there were a lot of earthly everyday concerns, which obviously is a big part of being on Earth, right? But so don't get me wrong, that's fairly common in that regard. But I feel like you could have just felt like it was to your detriment at a certain point. Possibly not knowing how best to move forward toward your goals as well. So looks like there was definitely, possibly losing sleep around the situation, just having too many thoughts in your head to really organize them, and that could have just been obviously counterproductive. All right. In the present position, we have the Lovers. So this is actually more Gemini energy, so not too surprising to see that came up with the dice, but seeing this here, obviously this looks like a much better manifestation of Gemini energy than we have in the foundation and in the past. Not just because it's the major arcana, but obviously it's just a much brighter energy, right? And the way I see this card sometimes, and it definitely seems to be coming across that way here, is we see the angel figure. It makes me think of things being worked out behind the scenes, right? Things coming to light. We see the sun in the background there, pretty high up in the sky, and things coming to light. In contrast to some of these other colors, it looks like that would definitely be helpful, right? So you might just actually get that reconnection to your intuition that you were hoping for. So if there was some kind of a blockage that you guys felt like you hit around your goals, looks like something's going to be coming around to actually help clear the pathway for you in that regard. Let me see what else comes to mind with this. And at a minimum, this could just say that you might actually get a bit of an energy boost as well. And in that regard, seeing that actually, that makes me think of the fact that we're going to have that Mars in Capricorn transit through all February too. So maybe just having Mars in Sagittarius might have felt like a low energy cycle for you guys. And then when it moves into your fifth house of creativity, might just feel like you get a boost there. All right, in the near future position, we have the Tower and Three of Swords. So, right back to the darkness, right? If we just look at that energy, if we just look at this main part of the spread here. But yeah, looking at this Tower energy here, what it could be pointing to is I did mention the full moon that you guys are going to have in Leo in February. Now, there's also going to be a new moon in Aquarius very early in February, and that's actually going to make a square aspect with Uranus in Taurus. So, could be some kind of sudden insight that you guys might get around the situation, and it might just be pretty jarring to you. Could be pointing to disappointments around finances as well, given that this is actually Libra energy for you guys, is your second house. So yeah, I feel like this is more of a realization than anything. And if I'm looking at that with the Lovers card together, I don't necessarily see it as a setback, but more of, if you think about what I was saying as far as this looks like something being worked out behind the scenes. So this could be a situation that makes more room for whatever that is. You know what I mean? So it could just be the path that you've been on to this point might get cleared away to make room for that. So that's primarily how I'm seeing it for some of you. But yeah, given that the Three of Swords is right beneath it, it does look like there will be a bit of a jarring feeling with that energy, but I do feel like it's going to be fairly short-lived given the spread as a whole. But that's what I see with that. In the position of your influence in the situation, we have the Page of Wands. So yeah, again, I'm seeing a light energy here, right? So whatever this Tower moment is, yes, it's probably going to suck in a moment, but I feel like it really is going to be overall a positive thing and a fairly short-lived disappointment as well. I feel like this is going to be something that was a bit overdue and possibly even something that you might have intuitively been connecting to, right? And maybe there was a blockage around realizing that, right? Maybe a little bit of denial that this was something that needed to go, right? But that could have been why it kept nagging at you, like, no, this needs to go, right? Maybe something finally comes along behind the scenes to actually remove it for good. But yeah, regardless of how that plays out, seeing this energy here, looks like you're definitely in a light, playful energy, ready to take action, ready to get yourselves back out there. So it seems like that's going to be a pretty short-lived thing for you. In the environment position, we have the Ace of Cups and the Nine of Wands. So if I put this back in the spread like that, he's looking right at the Tower. And obviously he looks like he's gone through a bit of a rough time himself, right, with the bandage on his head. So could just be saying that new opportunities might be coming your way, but you might not quite be ready for them yet with the actual experience that you went through with that Tower moment. Now, to be fair, this could actually represent someone else too, given that we just mentioned how your energy seems pretty light here. So it could just be one of those things where there's an opportunity for something new and someone else might be a little reluctant. And quite frankly, looking at those two cards in that contrast too, it could even just be saying that this could be someone in your environment that goes through that Tower moment. And then they could be a little bit gun shy to start something new, whereas it looks like you're a lot more open to a new thing at this time. Let me see what else comes to mind with this. Given that this is your fourth house energy too, it could even just be saying that this might even be something coming back up in your past, just to memory. So meaning that it might not be a new event, but more of something that just comes back up to the surface for you. For example, at the time recording this, we still have the Venus retrograde going on. Mercury retrograde just started as well. Lucky us, right? So it could just be one of those things where something from the past comes back up, given that fourth house energy can point to things from your distant past And that could be what could make you reluctant to start new things too. And maybe you're looking at that now like, okay, has something that I have gone through in my past, maybe that I've been reluctant to finally release, been blocking me from new opportunities. All right. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Eight of Pentacles, Virgo energy, and the Queen of Wands, Aries energy. So yeah, this again, I get that action-oriented vibe from you, right? We talked about it with the Page of Wands. Get the same thing there with the Queen of Wands energy too. And it's funny because looking at this card almost makes me think of a combination of the High Priestess energy with the Page of Wands energy, you know? So I feel like that's, especially given that for you guys, Aries energy is your 8th house. So yeah, I feel like this is saying that you really just want to get back in touch, back in contact with your intuitive side and actually use that in a way that could help you figure out how to navigate your worldly, earthly goals, right? So I feel like that's what you're hoping for there, that connection. And for some of you might have had it for a while, right? And it might have been really good for you. And for whatever reason, there seemed to have been a split and a disconnect within that energy. And now you might actually be reconnecting to that, even if it's not in the most comfortable of ways. So for some of you, this could even be like a bit of a secondary awakening, you know? All right, and in the outcome position, we have the Two of Wands. So more Aries energy here. And again, it looks like there's that energy of a fresh start. So yeah, this looks like it's definitely going to be a bit of a reset for you guys. But the main theme I'm getting with that Tower card, especially given the tense energies we see here, is I feel like this is something that needed to be cleared out of the way for you to have that fresh start. For some of you, this might even be something that might take until we start Aries season. So technically, that would be toward the end of March, given that this is a card that represents those first 10 degrees of Aries. But yeah, looks like there's some things that are going to be cleared away for you guys this month. And either late into February or maybe even in March, you'll actually have that fresh start. And given that we have the sun at the bottom of the deck too, to me, that's another indicator of that. You know, the way I explain the sun card to people sometimes is if we look, there's a baby on that horse, right? So to me, that represents the youthful energy of the sun, right? Meaning that it might not be at full strength yet. So it could just be one of those things where you're starting to feel that energy increase, but it might take a little bit longer until it's actually more at its peak, like we see, for example, with the Lover's card. So something to keep in mind with that. All right, moving on to your 4 agreements card. Yeah, always do your best. And it says surrender and let go of the past. Funny, because that's what I was saying there with that tarot moment. It's one of those things, right, where it looks like even if you don't surrender, it looks like something's going to come along to help you release it anyway, even if it's not, again, in the most comfortable of ways. But let's see what we have for the message. Okay. It says, whatever life takes away from you, let it go. When you surrender and let go of the past, you allow yourself to be fully alive in the moment. Letting go of the past means that you can enjoy the dream that is happening right now. So yeah, that message seems to go on pretty well with what we were seeing in the spread, and definitely seems to affirm that whatever this is something that's probably been lingering for quite some time that kind of needed to go anyway. So hopefully that resonated with you. All right, next we have from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck, Observer. There's the artwork, and the number is 49. All right, let's see what that says. Interesting that he's looking at the moon too, because I mentioned to you guys to be on the lookout for the lunar cycles this month. So yeah, definitely watch out for that new moon in Aquarius at the very beginning of February, and then toward the end of Aquarius season, watch out for that full moon in Leo. But yeah, looking at that, and then the moon in the High Priestess, I would say the new moon might be a bit more likely, but definitely be on the lookout for that. Okay, it says perspective, objectivity, neutral observation from a distance. The Oracle's message. Most people see the world through a personal lens. They closely identify with their feelings and experiences, so much so that they come to believe that these are the only reality. There are times when you need distance in order to gain perspective and understand your circumstances from a more neutral vantage point. Now is one of those times in your life. This is a perfect moment for you to begin to do some exploring. Instead of only considering yourself, consider what you need to understand about the conditions, people, culture, and environment you're engaged with now. You'll be so happy you did. Illumination is the miracle you seek and will indeed find. So definitely an interesting message there, especially given what I was feeling here too, that for a lot of you, I felt like this could have been a career goal where you might be hitting a bit of a blockage there. So I wonder if that's even pertaining to that, saying that, you might need to reconnect with your audience in that regard, to see what exactly they're looking for. And then that'll help you in that regard. All right, the relationship message says sometimes you just can't see the forest for the trees in your way. Feelings can get all jumbled up, and often you hear one thing when a person says another. It can be like an echo of an unresolved past experience dubbed over your conversation. Take time out before you react. It's likely the other person has no idea how his or her words have affected you. Take a few steps back and lend understanding to the situation. Have faith in your connection and trust that you can come together. Take the higher ground now and cultivate curiosity about what you observe in yourself and others and in the landscape. You will find things much improved sooner than you know. So, pretty positive message there as well. And then the prosperity message says it is an advantageous time for you to get some distance from what you're doing and see your work and your projects from a different perspective. The trick is to connect to the essence of your goals and aspirations while letting the form and timing be dictated by spirit. You may be too personally attached to an outcome and unable to see the miracle because it's not turning out exactly as you planned. Trust spirit. The perfect version of your abundance is right in front of you. Remain neutral and curious and watch the miracle unfold. Again, pretty positive message there too. That definitely made me think of that high priestess energy. So for a lot of you, I feel like you will get into that zone that it's asking you to, but hopefully that resonated as well. And lastly, we have a mudra for you guys. So this is your mudra here. It's the Nirvana Mudra. And all right, there's a lot on this card. So what I'll do, there we go. Let's see. Yeah, we definitely can't fit everything in a frame. So what I'll do is I'll hold it up there for a second. If you want to pause it or take a screenshot to read what it has to say. And then I'll move it up so we can get the rest of this in there too. Okay, so under benefits, it says weakens ego grasping, reduces selfish desire for personal gain from spiritual practice, awakens the art of compassion, serves as a ritual gesture to conclude any practice, as well as a simple way to dedicate to merit. So if that sounds like something you think would be beneficial for you guys, we'll put the name of the mudra in the description video as always. We'll wrap up there and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.